Absolutely. So talking about Ambika, so Ambika, we have seen your videos on holistic learning and relationship with self. Can you share something around that, please?
Relationship with self is really understanding the web, the invisible web that has no weaver, that connects us all, because truly we are all one. I think about music, about oneness. I think about all of the spiritualities of this planet that
Mhm.
teach this. And what I'd like to see are all the leaders practicing it and demonstrating it. That's a big disconnect that I find. Having the ability to focus the mind on this particular fact and really truly not imagining a world of opposites, of judging this or that, black or white, up or down, good or bad, but really getting to a place of polarity rather than opposition is so important. And what I want to do is to get all of the leaders, all of the parents, all of the people who are guiding groups to learn to do this, to make it second nature so that it is not unusual. It shouldn't just be because a person's at a podium with a, or with a microphone that all of a sudden we have to give them attention. Why? I mean, the child mind in me says why. But if they're actually reaching out energetically and taking time to let me know they're centered, they're grounded, and they're
Mhm.
going to help me get to that place and bring me in, I'm going to feel a connection.
Mhm. Makes a lot of sense, Ambika. Makes absolute sense. So, switching back to Katerina, you're also a marketing specialist and a professional educator. So, how do you balance between these things?
You know, it's a good question. I can balance because I love both. I love what I do in classroom, and it seems like I have a chance now to extend my classroom to uh, bigger life and apply my knowledge there. So my expertise in psychology and linguistics and
Oh,
marketing is actually a field to exercise those in real life. So this is what I do. So I teach theory in a classroom and I apply practical things in my business. And I'm so blessed to have, amazing people entering my life because of this business.
wonderful.
So we are connecting with holistic and metaphysical practitioners, people who are spiritual, who are advanced, who are visionaries, who are just
Mhm.
absolutely giving so many tools. So I'm really looking forward to learning from them all, and I'm learning already. I'm learning so much from Ambika and being a part of the team with her developing this Well Bright for Educators program, where I think it would be just a program, wellness program of a new generation. It is,
Absolutely. Oh,
and I'm very excited about this opportunity. Yes.
so we are really looking forward to that. Katerina, I just wanted to have your advice on one thing that we are developing here at TutorEye. So we wanted to start courses around SAT, and so we have a lot of kids come onto our website. So what we thought was, let's do a diagnostic test for these kids, free of cost. Let them go through 25 questions. Let's create an insight and let's guide them basis the diagnostic test. Is that the right kind of approach, or would you like to suggest a different strategy before we try to sell anything to the child?
Oh, I would like to comment on that one.
Please.
Do
Yeah,
you want to
Ambika,
take
go
it?
ahead.
I'm bouncing for that one, Katerina.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
I can understand the idea of aptitude, and we have to look at the model of SAT. SAT was developed at a time, and the whole way the model of education that we're working with was to create a workforce,
Right.
and it's an old model. What I'd like to see is something more like what people go through school. They go through secondary school. They come out, they don't have skills that they really should have, like managing money, like how to make friends, how to have good relationships. I'd much rather look at that. And then what happens? They go to a college counselor and they get tested or some sort of questions. Maybe if they're lucky, they take a Myers-Briggs test or something comparable. There are many good ways to look at aptitudes and potentials within a person emotionally. I would rather see us test people that way. Then we have a clearer idea on how they learn. Also, we have to be really clear. There are 3 distinct ways that people learn. Most are visual learners, right?
Right. Yes.
Then there's a smaller group that are auditory learners. They can close their eyes in the Zoom meetings. Let them close their eyes. They could sleep and they're still getting the information. This is a rule I always used in my classrooms. I mean, heck, I was
I
lecturing for
wish
4
I had
hours.
that. I wish I had that.
And then the smaller group are kinesthetic learners.
Right.
And something that I learned, bless the people that I used to teach high school for, they brought in a group that taught us about our aptitude in that way, whether we were visual, kinesthetic, or auditory learners, and also whether we were stronger right brain or left brain.
Okay.
Because then that's going to show us, okay, if I want to test a left brain on a particular math equation, it's going to work out differently for a right brain functioning
Okay.
logic. And I feel that also with Myers-Briggs, I still love that test. I give it to clients all the time. And I still feel that there's a great deal of information that we can learn about how to be better teachers. So you notice I do talk with my hands sometimes because the visual learners are going to leave the room if I don't. And I change my pitch a lot. And we have to understand there's different types of auditory frequencies. The kinesthetic learners need it quieter and more peaceful. And it's really good to begin that way so that you don't freak them out and then they shut off. Then if we get too much into auditory state, it could start sounding kind of monotone and then we're just going along like this, and that's going to lose the kinesthetic and the visuals. And if you don't get big every once in a while, I'm not saying you have to be like Tony Robbins all the time, but you do need to elevate and you need to move and travel on waves with it so that you're constantly bringing those other groups in. This is really, really important.
Right. So that is where the skill of a teacher comes in. She has to continuously check the class and understand.
It's just understanding your root style and then learning how to play outside your boundaries so that you can do it. Go ahead, Katerina. You definitely, you're bubbling now.
Yes, because you mentioned the test I also love, the Myers-Briggs test. And I wanted to add that, when we test our students, again, on technical things and how much they know, and their SAT test or whatever the test that they're preparing for, but again, we forget about personality behind those numbers. And what I think we sometimes miss, we are tutoring them subjects, but in fact, I think we should be tutoring them for success. And for success, they need to understand who they are, where their strengths are, what they can do the best. And Myers-Briggs test is doing a great job in identifying those strengths and best positions for those people. And once they know, oh, this resonates with me so well, I want to be this, I know I'll be great in it, then I will do my math better, then I will do any other subjects better. So we need to have this, I would say, internal push for students to be willing to be tutored, to be willing to learn something. And this can be done when they're aligned with themselves. This is, again, back to the question of what's the relationship with self. Because actually the purpose of life is to be happy. And I can be happy only when I'm exercising my strengths and passions. And this is what people can do so much in. And this can be, the world can be so different if we all do what we love.
And imagine also if the same type of exam questions could come in a variety of flavors. so
Right.
that it could speak more to these different types of learners. This is where I feel our testing really fails.
Absolutely. So when you even talk about if I receive say 5 out of 10 marks, and which is 50% of my score, what does it tell me? Have I acquired 50% skills? I don't know. Have I acquired 50% topics? I don't know. Have I lost 50% topics which are going to be used in the next grade? I have no idea. So it's not about just marks. It's also about understanding where you lost those marks, where you gained those points, and was it a calculative error, was it a conceptual error, why did you lose those marks, and how can you sort of go back and achieve those marks. So it's, from a standpoint view of just understanding 50% score or 70% score will not tell me anything about a certain grade or a certain subject. I hope I'm making sense on that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.